Hi friends, welcome back to a restorative practice with Intuitively D. I'm Deanna. I'm a certified yoga instructor, intuitive tarot reader, astrologer. Now I'm Reiki certified as well, and I'm bringing you a practice for a restorative practice for the United States of America presidential election. I am an American, and tomorrow, November 5th, is our presidential election, and I'm sure you have all seen how wild and wonky it is. And there is just a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of fear, a lot around this election. So if you like to do a very sweet yet restorative practice with me, stay tuned. So we're going to get started in an easy seat, a very comfortable position, however you like to arrive. And we will begin with just observing our breath. So if you would like to close your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes. If that doesn't feel safe, maybe lower the gaze, stare at the front of your mat, front of your space. Maybe bringing a hand over the heart or a hand over the belly. Did it the opposite. Or two hands over the heart. And begin to just observe your breath. Your inhales and your exhales. The rising and the falling of your belly. Maybe you notice the temperature of the breath as it enters and exits your nostrils. Maybe you allow your belly to be soft and your shoulders to move away from your ears. Knowing that this practice is a practice of releasing all the effort, inviting in rest, and just being. We'll take a few collective breaths here together. So when you're ready, taking a deep inhale through the nose, hold it at the top, open the mouth, and give an audible sigh. Two more just like that. Inhaling deeply through the nose, hold it at the top, open the mouth, and sigh it all the way out. And if you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for this practice, this could be the breath to do so. Take a deep inhale through the nose, hold it at the top, open the mouth, sigh it out. Return back to the natural rhythm of your breath. Maybe the hands move to your knees. Maybe you keep your eyes closed. With the inhale, we'll bring our heart forward, rotating to the left side of our space, curving our spine as we rotate to the back and moving on to the right for some Sufi grind, some hip circles. These can be as large as you like or as small as you like. Getting into the hips that might be slightly tight from the sitting that we do all day, maybe even from the clenching because we're in a slightly stressful time. Not forgetting the breath. Continue to inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Beginning to make the circles smaller and smaller so you come back to a neutral spine. From this neutral spine, we take an inhale, reaching the heart forward, exhaling as we rotate towards the other side. Same type of movement, and maybe you notice that this side might feel slightly different. No judgment, just acknowledgement. Maybe you need to send breath to spots that might be a little achy, a little tight, a little tense. No judgment. Maybe you curve your spine and really get into that back. Begin to make the circles smaller and smaller till you come to a neutral spine. From neutral spine, inhaling, circling the arms up. Exhaling, bring the hands, bring the palms to heart center. 2 more. Inhaling, circling the arms up. Maybe you even look up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last time. Inhale, circling, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Left palm places on the mat. Right arm extends out long, reaches over to our left side. Maybe the left arm bends a little bit, just for a nice side body stretch. Rotating the chest towards the front of the space. Taking 2 breaths here. Maybe you look up. Inhale. We come back up. Exhale. Over to the other side. Same thing. So extend. Maybe you look up at your, I don't know, ceiling, roof. Getting that nice side body stretch. Chest rotates to the front of our space. 1 more breath here. Stay for the exhale. Inhale. Coming up back to center. 1 more on each side. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale here, stay for the exhale. Inhale, exhale, hands to heart center. We're gonna make our way into a tabletop position. Of course, I'm sitting on my handy dandy bolster. Of course, I have my blanket, and I'm gonna spread my blanket across the middle of my mat because knees should always be supported. Always. Doesn't matter if they're 26 or 46. Hips over the knees, palms grounded and rooted into our mat. On our inhale, we're gonna drop our belly, lift our chin, open our chest up for cow. Exhaling, curving the spine, tucking the tailbone. Maybe we shake our head yes or no for cat. And we're just gonna move through cat and cow for a few rounds of breath. Maybe we do some hip circles here, feeling into the hips. Maybe we sway our hips from side to side, looking over. Whatever feels comfortable, whatever your body's calling for in this moment of uncertainty. We can always come back to our breath, come back to our body. One more breath. If you were doing hip circles, hopefully you went into the opposite direction. When you feel complete, coming back into a neutral spine, sitting back on our heels, we're gonna move into our first restorative pose. So we can bring our bolster to the front of us, to the front of your mat. And we're gonna widen our hips as wide as our mat, big toes to touch. And this might take several pillows because maybe your heels don't touch maybe your hips don't touch your heels, mine don't. And let me give you another option, because this sometimes works. Placing a block towards the back of your mat. And you might have to adjust. That's the thing I love about restorative poses. It allows you to just adjust. So our knees are wide, and we're gonna place our chest on top of our pillows or our bolster, coming into a very supported child's pose. Coming back to the breath here, arms can hug your pillows, hug your bolster. Lowering the gaze, closing the eyes if that feels good. Knowing that we might not have control over the things that happen in politics, but we do have control about how we react. We can come back to our breath. We can come back to our practice to let it anchor us, to let it ground us. We'll be here for a few rounds of breath. Feel free to close the eyes. If you have your head turned one way, go ahead and flip it to the other side just to get balance. Five more breaths here. Begin to bring awareness back into your body, back into this present moment by taking a few deep inhales and exhales through the nose. Planting your palms into the mat, pressing back up into a tabletop. And we're just going to sit now in front of our bolster, bringing the soles of our feet together for reclined butterfly Supta Baddha Konasana. When you feel like you're ready, go ahead and lay your back onto your pillows or your bolster. Feel free to use blocks under your knees to support your hips if they're tight. Maybe two hands on the belly, one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Coming back to the breath. Coming back to your inhales and your exhales. Coming back to yourself. Letting every breath release effort and invite in ease. If the hips begin to become troublesome, no judgment. Maybe you come out the pose. It's your practice. Ten more breaths here. Will you give yourself permission to feel a little bit heavier while simultaneously feeling a little bit lighter? Unclenching the jaw, relaxing the shoulders. Coming back to yourself, to the here, to the now. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing awareness back into the present moment, back into your body. Maybe you use your hands to help your knees come back to center. Maybe you swish your knees from side to side if that feels lovely. Our next pose is just supported fish pose. We're going to extend our legs out long. Upper body stays the same. And once again, maybe this time you come back to that intention that you set at the beginning of our practice. Breathing life into that. Visualizing how that life would look. Bringing the emphasis back to yourself. Just for a moment. Before we have to go back into the real world. But also knowing that you could come back to the breath at any moment. Ten more breaths here. Inviting in ease. Releasing the effort. If the mind has started to wander, will you allow yourself to gently bring it back to the breath? To the inhales and to the exhales. Begin to bring awareness back into your body, back into this present moment, taking deep inhales and exhales. Maybe a deep sigh would feel really lovely here. Gently pressing our palms into, actually, we're gonna roll over to your left or your right side, wherever you like to roll over to. Gently pressing into your arms and your hands to just come up for a second. Our final pose, excuse me, Shavasana, will be Fetal Pose, but of course, it's your practice, so however you like to take Shavasana, go ahead. I'm gonna use my bolster as a pillow. I'm gonna move my blanket from on top, onto the bottom, place it on top of me, and get cozy and comfy. Maybe your eyes closed. Taking these last few moments before we check back into election results or whatever we're doing today, tomorrow. Savoring these few moments of deep relaxation. Coming back to ourselves. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. But if you'd like to end this practice with me, maybe roll over to your back. We're going to end in a grounded shape. Placing the feet, our soles of our feet grounded into the mat. Bringing two hands to our heart space. Giving gratitude to ourselves for showing up to this nourishing practice. For making ourselves a priority in a day and a time where practicing stillness and coming back into your breath and practicing mindfulness is not supported. You're a radical, you're a rebel. Giving gratitude for all the others that are sharing in this practice with you as well. And I'm always humbled and grateful that you have allowed me to facilitate this practice for you. The love, the light, the compassion in me most definitely honors the love, the light, the compassion in you. I wish you nothing but ease and flow on and off of your mats. See you next time, friends.